Yo, it's your homeboy Kiiro Sagi in the building. Welcome to episode 54 of my One Piece discussion series. In this episode, I'll be reviewing One Piece chapter 751. You might hear some background noise throughout the video, so I apologize for any background noise in advance. You guys know how to do my chapter reviews. I do a review, then I do a discussion. So without further ado, let's start with the review. This was kind of a disappointing chapter because it had a lot of potential that it didn't meet. But at the same time, it could have been a lot worse and Oda would have gotten away with it. So, we just have to take what we got and just judge what we got. And what we got wasn't too bad. When it comes out in the anime, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty beast part in the anime with like Sabo taking on the Marines and all that. But overall, this really, in all honesty, was just a setup chapter. We got a setup for the Sabo versus Fujitora fight, and we got a setup for the first part at least of Doflamingo versus Luffy, which is going to be Doflamingo versus Luffy solo, because right now Law can't do shit. So yeah, that's pretty much my review for the chapter. Good chapter, good setup chapter rather, and I can't wait to see this in the anime because we're going to get a lot more Sabo action, which was cut short for obvious reasons in this chapter. So yeah, moving on with the discussion, we get some confirmation on the strength of Dragon Claw, and it didn't seem like Sabo was using hardening, so it's hard to tell if he was using haki or not, because you can use haki, like armament haki, without your hand turning black and shit. So but his hands weren't glossy, even though he was wearing gloves, they weren't glossy, so he wasn't using hardening. He might have still used haki, so I don't know, but regardless, the point is, without using hardening haki, he can break through metal. That's like the hardest thing he's broken through with his claws. Now, he might be able to break things harder, we don't know yet, but my assumption is he can't, because he did need haki when he went up against Burgess. Now, Burgess was using metal, but Burgess had haki in his metal, so it would have been harder. So, it's sort of, I don't know. That's just the way I see things right now. But anyways, moving on. Sabo basically gets rid of all the people that came around with Fujitora to set up the fight between him and Fujitora, and it ends with a clash. But before I get ahead of the stuff that happened, one more interesting thing happened after we got the whole Dragon Claw strength explanation, or feat. Two things actually. First of all, Fujitora, with his incredible observation haki, he can sense that the birdcage has changed, that it's either smaller or weaker. Now this is a strong hint that something's happening with Doflamingo, because he's the devil fruit user who set up the birdcage. So this is a strong hint as to what happens later on in the chapter. But anyways, Fujitora brings down the meteor in the hopes that he can get rid of the birdcage once and for all, and he fails. And there's damage and all that kind of shit, but I just want to bring that up, that he could sense the birdcage has changed, and we should take it as true that the birdcage did change because of what we saw at the end of the chapter. So when the meteor comes down, it doesn't affect Sabo because he's a Logia, but Sabo does admit that he's still getting used to the fruit, which people like to bring up as a point that he's mastered the fruit already after eating it, which is completely false, because just because he used one technique, the Fire Fist, which is a very primitive technique if we're being honest. It's as primitive as Luffy just throwing a punch. That's how basic it is. But just because he used that one technique, people say he's like on ace level of using the fire fruit and all that kind of shit. So if you're one of those people, just shut the fuck up. And the chapter says it right there. He's still getting used to the fruit. So that's the end of that segment. It ends with the whole clash thing, and those are like the important parts of that segment. Next we have the whole Luffy and fodder shit. But the important thing to note is all the fodder are gone. Well, they're not all gone, but the ones that were with Luffy are out of the picture. And right now, just Luffy, the Bull, Uzi, and Law. And they're in the dead end, and Doflamingo's about to fuck them up. Now, Law still has the seastone handcuffs on him, but, Robin and Co. are on their way with the key. They said, don't worry about how we're going to get to the key. So I'm wondering, how we're going to get to the palace. So, my question for you guys is, what do you think is going to happen in the next episode in regards to Luffy and Doflamingo? That's the first question. The second question is, how do you think Robin and Co are going to get to the palace? Now, my assumption is they're going to use some type of gimmick concerning the powers. Now, we know Robin can fly, but I don't know what else they could do, really. The only other thing they could do is maybe Bartolomeo make a barrier, they stand in the barrier, and they make a sort of zip line with Leo's powers or some shit, something along those lines, but whatever. That's pretty much my review of the chapter, my review / discussion. Not much happened in the chapter, but it is a setup chapter, and this seems like the final setup chapter because pretty much all the big players have their fights set up and cut out for them. The only character we haven't really gotten any info on is Usopp, but we might get some info on him next chapter, but we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my chapter. Uh, my Q&A is coming up next as my next episode in One Piece gist. So if you have any questions, hit me up ASAP because I'm gonna start doing the Q&A video. I don't know when, but pretty soon. So yeah, try and squeeze in your questions before the video comes out. And if you're curious, my Q&A should be episode 50. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section, and in episode 55 I'll answer all you guys' questions. That's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you guys for watching.